Hello, my name is Joe Lembo. I'm one of the assistant naturalists for Hendricks County Parks and Recreation. Thank you for joining me for another Animal Tales video. This Animal Tales video is for the month of April. And the book we've chosen for April is The Moon Saw It All by Nancy Young. Now in this book, a group of animals throw a party at night, and the moon gets a front seat to all of the shenanigans and party activities that animals do at night. And they leave all kinds of strange tracks and signs behind. And then in the morning, a group of humans wake up and they spot all the strange tracks, and they were wondering what happened here. Now, we'll be focusing mostly on nocturnal animals, and we'll briefly hit some moon phases today. And I'm going to apologize in advance. It's a very windy day outside at McLeod, so I'm sorry if it cuts into the audio a little bit, but we're going to try to get through that, and hopefully the wind isn't too big of a deal as far as the audio quality of this video. Now, let's go ahead and get started with our nocturnal animals. So for those of you who don't know what a nocturnal animal is, it's an animal that's most active at night. And that's going to be kind of like your owls, your bats, raccoons, possums, and red foxes. Here's a little example of my fun little possum guy. You might have seen him before. If not, here he is. Now, nocturnal animals are kind of adapted to be pretty good at night, and they've done a couple things to kind of adapt to be better. So one of the main ones is, of course, their camouflage. So a lot of nocturnal animals have a lot better camouflage, so that way they can be hidden during nighttime. Also, their senses are improved. So most nocturnal animals have a really good sense of sight, hearing, and smell. And the sight, they typically will have more rods inside their eyes, and this helps with low light vision conditions. And then for their hearing, they can hear very tiny noises from distances away. Also, their smell. So their smell has been kind of adapted to kind of pick up some really nice scents on the night air, and that helps them better locate things as well. Now, you could see some of these nocturnal animals during the day. It's highly unlikely, but it could happen. So there has been times where I have seen an owl hanging out in a tree during the day, or maybe a possum comes running out, or a raccoon. It's not very common, but it could happen, because they are nocturnal animals, so they are mostly active at night, so you're not going to be seeing them constantly during the day, but it could happen. Now, let's go ahead and jump to our moon phases. So the way the moon phases are set up, it's kind of interesting. We're just going to do a brief little talk about some of the phases, but for the most part, this is a whole nother lesson for moon phases. Now, our new moon for this year is going to be April 12th. So once we get that going, we'll start moving into our full moons. So every month we'll have a full moon. And each month's full moon has a different name, which kind of helps determine what's going on for that month. And that's been kind of put together by our ancient ancestors and farming communities and whatnot. So in May, the full moon for May is called the flower moon, and that's because most flowers are popping up during that month. So it got the name flower moon. You know, spring showers bring May flowers. You've all probably heard of that before. Now, as we move in to a couple other months throughout the year, let's jump to June. So in June, the full moon for June is called the strawberry moon. And that's because that's a good time to plant and harvest, to harvest strawberries. So typically, your strawberries are coming out and they're pretty good. Now we'll move in a couple more months. So let's jump to August. So August, that full moon is called the Sturgeon Moon. So this is the time when a lot more sturgeon are present in the waters and tend to be easier to catch because there's a lot more as far as their population booms. And that's because of August. That's when all the sturgeon start swimming in the streams and whatnot. And lots of fishermen like that month, especially if you're a sturgeon fisherman. Now let's move to kind of September. So September is the harvest moon. And that full moon is kind of representing time for good harvest. So that's when a lot of people are starting to harvest all their crops and they're good to go. So that's how that month's got termed the harvest moon. And there's all kinds of different ways to call these in different names. Those are kind of some general ones. Now, if you were to open up your Farmer's Almanac, or you can look online at the Farmer's Almanac, it talks a little bit more about these different moon phases and what they mean and whatnot. Now, for upcoming programs at the park, we have a lot of things coming up, nothing related to moon phases. However, We are moving into the summer now, so our Nature Center hours will be changing. So keep an eye on our Facebook page and our website. We'll be open more, as well as the next Explorer will be coming out. And inside that Explorer, you'll see some of our summer programs, as well as day camps. So day camps will start opening up. They're actually opened up for registration right now. If you want to hop on our website, you can register for those. We also have some cool news about our new park. So W.S. Gibbs Memorial Park should be opening sometime this summer. So keep an eye out on the Facebook page or our website to see when the actual date of that is, but hopefully it's sometimes during the summer. And that's going to be a really fun park. It's going to be closer to the city. But we're going to have a really cool playground. There's going to be a disc golf course. There's going to be a consumptive fishing pond, which you won't be able to actually consume the fish for a couple of months before get away from the grow. But it will be there. And there's also going to be a cool sledding hill, as well as some trails. And the playground's really cool. I don't know if I've mentioned that. And if I did, it's cool. So it's worth mentioning twice. But it's a really cool looking playground. So hopefully we will see you out at that park when that park opens up. And as usual, we're always excited to hear from you. So if you're coming out at McLeod, stop by, talk to the naturalist, have a question for us, feel free to ask us. Or send us a message on our Facebook and kind of tell us what you thought about Animal Tales, if you like this one or whatnot. But that is our Animal Tales for the month of April. And it is going to be a good summer, hopefully, this year. So everybody, have a great rest of your day.